I genuinely do not know what the hell Game Freak were thinking when they created Gligar's Learn set. It's absolutely horrific. I've put Gligar off as long as I reasonably can. It's one of those challenges that I really didn't want to do. And full disclosure, this isn't my first time attempting to record a Gligar challenge. I did one around about 18 months ago that never made it to air because I really was not happy with how things went. So this technically is the second try for Gligar. However, it had been so long since recording the Gligar challenge that I had no idea what I was getting myself in for again. There was definitely a reason why it took 18 months between attempts for this particular one, and I know I'm not the first to do Gligar, so I'm sure all of you know exactly what we're in for here. Before we get into the challenge, we'll take a look at the stats and learn set. We're level 5 with 22 HP, holding a berry with just Poison Sting, 13 in attack, 17 in defense, 10 in special attack, 13 in special defense, and 15 in speed. Let's get the graphics up and let's get this challenge underway. And now as we start to take on our very first wild encounter, we know it's not going to be a good time. So while that's playing out in the background, I've got a question for all of you. Can we all, as a comments section, come up with a consensus for which Pokemon in Generation 2 has the absolute worst learn set of them all? I definitely think Gligar would be a contender, but I'm sure there are plenty of other Pokemon as well who have absolutely hideous learn sets. Those ones that cause absolute pain and suffering for us solo runners. And now as we encounter the rival for the first time in battle, he's got the Totodile line, but you may also notice I took no chances. I did a bunch of hop-it grinding. I wanted to make this challenge as quick as possible, and that meant investing a lot of time at the beginning of the challenge. We'll see if it pays off now as we take on our first gym leader in battle. This is Falkner, the flying type specialist who leads with Pidgey. Even having the 10 level advantage, Pidgey was a 3-shot with a crit. Pidgeotto comes out to play and we are really just hoping for the poison. We're in no danger of fainting, but we want to knock it out as quickly as possible. We eventually get through Falkner in 25 minutes and 31 seconds. Let's move on to Bugsy. Bugsy is the bug-type specialist of Azalea Gym and he leads with Metapod. We crit the Metapod to get our first one-shot of the entire challenge. Out comes Scyther and we're going to use Swift. We resist Fury Cutter, so we're not in any danger of being knocked out at all. Kakuna's the last Pokemon. He hardens and it's all over for him from there. Time of 31 minutes and 55 seconds for the Hive badge. But this time we definitely cannot celebrate as we take the trip around the corner. It's time for the dreaded Rival 2, and this one is going to be bad. We are starting off with nothing for the Ghastly. I don't want to use struggle strategies, that's going to take forever and a day with the amount of power points we have. So I decided to do something a little bit different. We're going to be trying Fury Cutter. It's quad resisted by the Ghastly, but a critical hit knocks it out. That brings us on to Croconaw, and we one-shot it with Fury Cutter. We'll swap to Swift for the Zubat, that's going to be another one-shot, and we lucked our way through Rival 2. Let's try and keep this up now as we go to Whitney. She is, of course, our third gym leader together, a normal-type specialist who leads with Clefairy. Now, because we've got the ground-type, rollout is not going to be super effective. It's only going to be neutral, and we have bags of speed. This is one battle where Gligar excels. We get through on our first try and obtain the plain badge in 37 minutes and 54 seconds. And even despite its abysmal learn set, Gligar's having a very good mid-game. Let's now take on Rival 3. We've got Hidden Power Ground, because once again this is another challenge where we're going to have to use our Hidden Power type for stab. We one-shot the Ghastly, we two-shot the Croconaw, we grow to 33, and then we one-shot the Zubat. The last Pokemon's Magnemite, we've got Hidden Power, we knock it out in one. We defeat the rival on our first attempt in a time of 46 minutes and 12 seconds. We'll fall through the floor and we end up in front of Morty. He's our dual Ghost and Poison type spectacular gym leader and he's going to lead with Ghastly. We've put Hidden Power up to the tippy top and it's going to be a clean sweep. One shot on the Ghastly and the Haunter, Gengar comes out to play. We one-shot the Gengar, we knock it out in one, and the last Pokemon is Haunter. That's another one-shot, so we'll say thank you to Morty for a very clean battle. Fog badge in 48 minutes and 3 seconds. Up next is Chuck, the fighting-type specialist of Cyanwood Gym, who leads with Primeape. We're going to fish for the flinch against Primeape and we get it turn 1. We knock it out on turn 2 and we are on to the Poliwrath. We may resist Dynamic Punch, but we are weak to Surf. However, Poliwrath throws, we grow to level 37, we get through with no issues, and we can take a trip back to Olivine City where Jazz is waiting for us. She's our 6th gym leader together, a Steel-type specialist who leads with Magnemite. This is going to be a very simple battle. We'll one-shot the Magnemite, it's 4 times super effective with Hidden Power Ground, and we can turn our attention onto the Steelix. Hidden Power takes off roughly a third of its health. We do a lot more damage on turn number 2. Of course, Iron Tail's not going to hit us very hard at all. And after Jasmine heals, it's 3 more hidden powers to knock out the Steelix. We grow to 40, and we say thank you Jasmine for the mineral badge in 56 minutes and 34 seconds. Now, Price could actually be dangerous for once. We are quad weak to the ice type, let's see how it goes. Hidden Power Ground is a one-shot on the Seal, we move on to the Dugong. We get the flinch on the Dugong, we finish it off with Hidden Power, and now he's only got Piloswine left. We don't flinch, Blizzard takes us down to 8 HP, we critical hit back, and we got off very lightly there. Glacier badge in 57 minutes and 20 seconds. That means we can move on to rival number 4 in the Goldenrod Underground. We've got Sludge Bomb on the learn set as well as Return by this point. Let's see how we get on. He leads with Golbats, we'll use Return and we take it down into the red. We end up confused, but we win the coin toss on our first turn of confusion. We do lose the coin toss on the second turn, but Water Gun is pathetic. We then snap ourselves out of confusion to finish off the Feraligatr, and we can move on to Sneasel Pleasel. We'll use Hidden Power against the Sneasel, it goes down in one shot, and Magnemite is next. Another one shot to grow to level 44, we get the option to learn Screech, which we decline. Haunter comes out to play, it goes down to a Hidden Power, and we have defeated the rival in 1 hour, 4 minutes and 44 seconds. And that means we can move on to Claire. She is our final Jotonian gym leader, a Dragon-type specialist who leads with Dragonair. And in this battle, we are playing for flinches. I'm not confident that Return is a one-shot on these Dragonair. We can afford to get hit once by the Kingdra as well, and thank goodness we flinched it twice in a row there. That means that Claire has used up her healing items, and we can tank a single Surf. We're down to 17 HP as the final Dragonair comes out. I risk Return, we high roll with the pink bow, and we just about scrape through. Time of 1:13.05 for the Rising badge. And that now means we can start heading towards Victory Road. Before we get into the Indigo Plateau, we're going to be ambushed by the rival for one last time, and this time he leads with Sneasel. Return one-shots the Sneasel courtesy of a critical hit and we grow up to level 52. I decline the option to learn Guillotine and we are on to Feraligatr. I misclick and try repelling the Feraligatr away, it doesn't work, but Water Gun is doing next to nothing. We 3-shot Feraligatr and we move on to Golbat. That's a range on the Golbat and we get very unlucky, but we don't hit ourselves in confusion. We hit ourselves once against the Kadabra, but Future Sight really is the least bad option that Kadabra could have set up there. And now we've only got 2 Pokemon that are weak to ground left to go. It's Haunter and Magneton, it's going to be a one-shot affair on both of them, and we are through the rival in 1 hour, 18 minutes and 2 seconds. And with that, we're at the Pokemon League, so we're going to deposit our HM friends, so it's a big thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and merci to Paris. We will then buy our 4 full restores, and we can start thinking about taking a look at our stats going into the league. We're shaping up like this. We are level 52 with 153 HP. We are holding the pink bow with Return, Headbutt, Sludge Bomb and Hidden Power Ground. We've got 119 in attack, 148 in defense, 78 in special attack, 110 in special defense and 126 in speed. Those are the outer battle stats. Of course we'll get a big buff in battle, as we'll see now against Will. He is our first league member, a psychic type specialist who leads with Xatu. Once again, we're playing for the flinch here against Will. It's the story of Gligar. We are not powerful enough to one-shot anything, and in this case, we didn't flinch, and we hit ourselves in confusion too many times. We get hit by a critical hit Psychic on attempt number 2, so it's really not starting off any better. Jinx goes down to a single return. If she'd have hit us, that would have been dangerous. And the third Pokemon is Slowbro. Slowbro swears at us, which was about the worst he could have done there, because that turns him from a 3-shot into a 4-shot. We'll finish him off with a Hidden Power Ground, and then the next Pokemon is Xatu number 2. 2. We'll headbutt the Xatu, we get confused once again, but this time I went in holding a Bitter Berry. We two-shot Xatu and the last Pokemon is Executor. This Executor doesn't have any grass type moves, so we can use Sludge Bomb a couple of times to finish it off, and we are through Will's second try in 120-24. Second up is Koga. He's a poison type specialist who leads with Ariados. Once again we're going to go for the flinch, and we are not getting the flinch luck at the moment. Ariados goes down in 2 and that brings us onto Fortress. Hidden Power crits on the first turn, so it's a 2-shot on the Fortress. That brings us onto Crobat. Once again we fish for the flinch and it doesn't happen, and he sets up a double team. We hit it with Return to get him caught in a bit of a healing loop, but unfortunately he did land Toxic. Koga sets up another double team, and now we are at the mercy of the RNG gods. We get through the Crobats, but we've still got 2 Pokemon left to go. Hidden Power's a one-shot on Muck, but there's still Venomoth. We're going to headbutt the Venomoth and hope we get a lucky flinch. That's exactly what happens, and we survive on 8, and we scrape through just about. Bruno's third, hopefully this will be a slightly easier battle. We'll start off by two-shotting Hitmontop with Return as it goes for the double quick attack, and second out is Hitmonchan. We fish for the flinch and it's exactly what happens, so it's a 2-shot without any damage on that. Third out is Machamp. He goes for Cross Chop instead of Rock Slide and it barely tickles us. Regardless of anything else in this challenge, physical hits really don't do much to us at all. We can then finish off the battle with a pair of one-hits, one against Hitmonlee, one against Onix, and we are through Bruno and move on to Karen. She's a Dark-type specialist who leads with Umbreon. I don't even bother fishing for the flinch against the Umbreon, we go straight to Sludge Bomb and we poison it. We then hit it with Return and it survives on a sliver of health but knocks itself out. We have been sand attacked, but my strategy here is just to ignore it and hope it doesn't come into play. We one-shot Murkrow, we also one-shot Houndoom, and here comes Gengar. We connect, Gengar goes down in 1, and the last Pokemon is Vileplume. We'll use Return against the Vileplume, take it deep into the yellow, another Return knocks it out. We grow to level 56, and we are through Karen in 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 4 seconds. And now it is time for the battle I have been dreading. Gligar is absolutely abysmal against Lance. This is genuinely one of the hardest fights I have done all year, and it's not even a red battle. As we have seen throughout the course of this challenge, most of the time we can get out of jail free by flinching and relying on a bit of luck. It's okay when there's only 1 or 2 problematic Pokemon in a party, but nearly every single one of Lance's Pokemon poses a big threat to Gligar. And we had 2 options here, either keep persevering or leave the league and do some grinding. I decided to go for the perseverance route. At this point in the challenge we are not going to be gaining levels very quickly at all, so it just made sense to me, instead of having to go through all of the league once again, we will just try to brute force this battle. And eventually, you get the luck you need. We flinch the Gyarados on turn 1, we finish it off with Return on turn 2, and here comes the first Dragonite. Dragonite misses its Blizzard, and that is huge. Blizzard will have one-shot us. We are on to the second Dragonite. Hyper Beam is great. That means we get 2 free turns of attacking without taking much damage. Scarodactyl is third, and once again he goes for Hyper Beam. We can tank the Hyper Beams, and that gives us the in we need to knock it out. We have just 2 Pokemon left to go. Charizard is next, we headbutt and critical hit, we don't get burnt by Flamethrower, we grow to level 57, and now it's just the last Dragonite. We don't flinch it, and Outrage knocks us out. You may notice the reset counter didn't count up there. I double counted on the previous attempt, and normally that kind of thing doesn't matter because we don't get 2 good attempts back to back, except in this case. We have all the luck bunched up together. We 3-shot the Dragonite without taking any damage, and we are on to Dragonite number 2. Hyper Beam is great, and we are in the green for the Aerodactyl. We flinch Aerodactyl on turn 1, we flinch it on turn 2, and we get the triple flinch. That's huge. It means we are on 120 for the Charizard. Let's see how badly this one goes. We use our last headbutt to get the quadruple flinch. We finish it off in 2 shots, and now it's just a level 50 Dragonite. Our health is high enough to tank a couple of outrages. He gets himself locked in, so he cannot healing loop. And we defeat Lance in a time of 1 hour, 29 minutes and 45 seconds. That gives us our final Hall of Fame time of 1 hour, 30 minutes and 3 seconds. And now at the midway point of this challenge, we are in 86th place. That's probably just about where Gligar deserves to be, but this is only half of the story. So don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And we rejoin the action here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokémon fan club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag for another challenge, I am more than pleased to announce that Gligar is definitely capable of taking on our standard Kantonian routing. So we'll start at Surge, we'll finish at Blue, and we'll take on all the other 6 gym leaders in between. And talking of Blue, if of course you do want to skip ahead to the Blue fight, I can tell you it's going to be starting at around about 18 minutes and 21 seconds in this video. For everybody else, let's now sit back, relax and have our standard Kantonian chat. And in this one, with it being our second to last Kantonian chat of the year, I want to do a little bit of introspection and look back at the year we've had together here on the channel. And I think the most obvious thing is that this year has been a year of 2 very contrasting halves. I really struggled in the first part of the year because of all the health issues that were going on, and that meant I couldn't throw myself into creating the challenges like I was able to in the previous year. Of course, as we've seen since the very beginning of the channel, my health is very cyclical. It goes up and down very frequently. And the first part of this year had some additional health concerns that definitely made everything else worse. The good news is though, that was sorted by July, and not being able to create challenge runs, I did have a lot of time to think about how I want to mitigate it in the future. As I'm sure I've mentioned in a previous Kanto chat, this set of content ever since the end of July has been split up into a couple of different seasons. I've been recording in bulk, but because I backlogged so many, I was able to then take the breaks when my health took a little bit of a turn for the worse again. In September I got slightly unwell with a very, very low-lying virus. It was the sort of thing that was more of a nuisance than anything, but it did drain my energy away. And then I got hit by a fairly nasty virus at the end of October. But because I backlogged, I was able to still have the videos going out, so hopefully for all of you wonderful people, it's been fairly seamless. And the only disruption comes where I'm not able to do any live streams as a result of it. I'm still in recovery from that virus as well. I don't have the energy levels I had throughout the summer, so it's still going to be a little while until the full streaming schedule comes back. However, in terms of pre-recorded content, this is the longest period I've ever had on the channel where I've been able to maintain this consistent upload schedule. And a big reason for that is finally accepting to myself that I just need to work in bulk. I've got to take advantage of the good times when I can, so that when the bad times do inevitably roll around again, I've got a little bit of a buffer. And one of the other things is I'm being much more open and less guarded on the channel. So before, I would just disappear off the radar. And that came down to 2 big reasons. The first was I was a little bit embarrassed about falling ill all the time. It's not exactly the sort of thing I'll ever be happy with, but with the amount of times I fall ill throughout the course of a year, it really does mount up, and that brings me nicely on to the second reason. I didn't want to seem like I was fishing for sympathy. There have been times since I've started this channel where I've been hit by 3 or 4 different infections in a row, and when that happens, it can knock me out for months. And the last thing I wanted to do was make community post after community post saying I'm ill, I'm still ill after this, I still need more time to recover, and so I just kept quiet. But now I am making the effort to make community posts to give you all updates as to when I'm likely to return. Now this one was a bit of a downer chat, I can promise you the next one's going to be much more positive, but now let's rejoin the action here at Blue. He's our final gym leader of the challenge, a mixed type specialist who leads with Pidgeot. We're going to start off with the headbutts because we are still playing with the flinching strategy. We 3-shot the Pidgeot and we can move ourselves on to Gyarados. Gyarados is going to hit like an absolute truck. Rain Dance boosted Hydro Pump is going to one-shot us, and that means we're going to have to change strategy. We get the Curse TM out, so it's goodbye to Headbutt. and we are now going for the swearing strats instead. We'll say a swear to Pidgeot. He doesn't use Mirror Move, and that means we're just going to go straight for attacking. Return does negligible damage because of Zero Friendship, and we two-shot Pidgeot in the end. Return now does over half damage against the Gyarados, so we can knock it out in two, and here comes Alakazam. Alakazam goes for Psychic instead of Reflect. That is perfect, and the next Pokemon is Exeggutor. We've got Sludge Bomb for Exeggutor. It's super effective, and because of our huge attack now, it goes down in one. The rain is still falling for the Arcanine. We use Hidden Power, we finish it off in a single hit, and the last Pokemon is Rhydon. We're going to continue using Hidden Power. It takes it down deep into the red. Rock Slide does next to nothing back, and we are through blue in a time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 21 seconds. With that, we have all of our gym badges acquired, and that means there's only one battle left. It's time to face off Red here in Silver Cave, and he leads with Pikachu. We outspeed the Pikachu so we can go straight for Hidden Power, and we knock it out in one. Second out is Blastoise, and of course, Blizzard is going to be a one-shot. We're going to use some rare candies now to get ourselves up to level 68. Let's see if that makes any difference, especially when we combine it with the passive damage of Sandstorm. And quite frankly, I've had enough of playing fair in this challenge. We have been held back time after time, so we are going to go full curse strats here. We are going to get our attack up to a very, very huge value. We're going to knock out the Pikachu, and we are on to Blastoise once more. Unfortunately, once again, Blizzard hits and knocks us out in one. Another 3 rare candies go in, so we're now at level 71. We say our favourite swears against the Pikachu as Charm fails, and that means we don't have to swear that much. We use 3 of them, we knock out Pikachu with a single return, and we are back onto this pesky Blastoise. We get the Quick Law proc to take it into the yellow on turn 1, he misses Blizzard and we double proc. That brings us on to Peskeon. It sets up Reflect, but we don't really care. We just want to try and brute force our way through the rest of this battle. We set up a Sandstorm against the Snorlax as he uses Amnesia. We use Return to take it into the red, and we are praying that Body Slam doesn't paralyze. Sandstorm nearly knocks it out, and we finish it off with Return. It's us versus Charizard, but Flamethrower finishes us off. We're using our last rare candies. We're now up to level 75. This time I misclick and accidentally set up a Sandstorm before we start swearing. That does mean that Pikachu is going to be taking some passive damage, but with the damage output that Return does, that was a little bit moot. However, Sandstorm then works in our favour. It chips away a little bit at Blastoise, and combined with the critical hit, we knock it out on turn number 1. We Quick Law proc against the Espeon, so there's now no Reflect in play. Snorlax comes out to play, it uses Amnesia on turn 1, we can finish it off in 2 shots. We are back onto this Charizard, but this time in much better health. Return does a lot of damage, Flamethrower takes us into the yellow, but it's now all over for Red. He's only got Venusaur left to go, we critical hit it, and we defeat him at a time of 1 hour, 53 minutes and 25 seconds. And that time puts us in a very, very respectable 81st place. We gained 5 places between the Hall of Fame and the end of the Red fight, so I'm taking that as a success. It does push Wigglytuff down into the page 3 drop zone, and we now have a new leader of page 4. It's Octillery with a 202.43, we've still got Magcargo and Shuckle down at the bottom of the list, and of course there's going to be no page to change to. It's still Articuno in 11th place and Noctowl in 50th place, and the front page still looks the same as well. We've got our 3 birds on top, and Lugia survives for another challenge. But with that, we are done. So I really hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, make sure to leave a like. If you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. If you want to see more just like this, then click the subscribe button. And until next time when we're getting Gligar's revenge, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.